Got a little bit of trad content for you here today on the channel, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to install much heavier inserts and points into these gold tip traditional 500 arrows to hopefully get them to tune a little bit better and fly a little bit better out of my trad bow. So follow along with me here today as I change the points out on these arrows and see what kind of change happens to the tune. So the previous trad video was me trying to actually get these gold tip traditional 500 arrow shafts to spine up correctly because my Easton Axis 400s are far too stiff. And even at full length, they're still giving me issues. With these gold tip traditional 500s, still was giving me issues as well, although I had lightweight inserts and only 125 grain points in them. They are still full length, and from what I understand, actually, most traditional people are using full-length arrows because then if they're using gap shooting, they're able to not have such big gaps. So that makes sense for sure. I just figured shortening them up would look a lot better because they're hanging out, you know, a good 6+ inches out in front of the bow. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm new at this trad game. I'm just having a good time and having some fun. And I appreciated all the comments that everybody made down in the other videos comment section, letting me know about a couple of crucial things that I totally forgot about, including, you know, making sure my arrows are heavy enough to shoot out of my JT traditional archery Zeus. And I didn't even think of that because, you know, from what I come from, Olympic style recurve and tournament style archery, you just build your arrows and you shoot it out of your bow. There's not really a huge amount of care as far as grains per pound, all that stuff. You just shoot an arrow that you install your components in and call it a day, right? You can make some adjustments here or there, but it's definitely not like this stuff as far as traditional is concerned. And never would I think to put such heavyweight arrows or heavyweight points in these arrows just to begin with, because like I said, I've not done it, and I like the little bit zippier, lighter weight arrow. And I did weigh this gold tip 500. I should reweigh it because I forgot already. I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of like 430 grains or so. Yeah, 429 grains for this full length gold tip traditional 500. Pretty close probably to 10 grains per pound, which I think is still on the safe side. I think that's like a bare minimum, or I don't know. I know everybody's different. Every boyer is different. And I guess I should shoot John a message and see. Yeah, so what I'm going to do first, swap the points. Then I'm going to actually check my peak draw weight just because I haven't yet. And then let's go outside and see if the point weight adjustments make the bear shafts fly a little bit better or stick in a little bit straighter. And go from there. I'm just going to take you along the journey. Like I said, this is me just learning traditional style archery, learning how to tune a bow that does not have a plunger, that's only cut to center, and just doing things a little bit differently than I'm used to. So I appreciate everybody's comments and the excitement down in the description, or down in the comment section rather. It's nice. It's very interesting to see how passionate a slightly different sect of archery is in regards to just supporting the actual community and the various types of approaches that many people have. It's just very interesting, and I'm learning a whole lot and having a good time along the way. So enough of me talking. I'm going to swap these points out and then take you outside. Alright, so I'm going to first check the draw weight. I'm just going to pull it back to basically where I normally anchor to. You know, string on my face, 45 pounds. Do it again. 44.5. So about 45-ish pounds or so. That's about what I expected. 44, yeah, so 44, 45 pounds. That's kind of what I thought it was. So if it's 10 grains a pound, I need something in the 440 grain range. So 420 is a little light. I know that it can, you know, change depending on the boyer. But I've got the old points and the new points here. Old points weigh with the inserts about 100 and I really need a new grain scale. 124 grains. So that's actually lighter than I thought. So the points aren't even 125. They must be hundreds and the inserts are 25 because the new ones are, yeah, right at 200 grains, 200 and a half grains because of a 50 grain insert and a 150 grain point. So they should fly dramatically different. Now the whole arrow, yeah, about a 500 grain arrow, 501 grains. So now that's sufficient, much heavier than before. And we'll head outside and see how they tune and how they fly out of this JT Traditional Zeus. Real quick before I head outside and shoot this traditional bow, in case you're wondering what this is here, it's a stack of dampened barebow weights components that I need to assemble to get them back in stock. The black ones are out at the Nitride company right now getting coated, getting to turn black before I laser etch them and assemble them. So if you're interested in these, they are going to be fulfilling back orders in the order in which they are received and then going to full in-stock inventory. So if you want to get in on them before they get sold out again, place your order now. Even if they are on back order, we will fulfill them in the order in which they are received, and it won't be that long. We're expecting by the end of the week getting these stainless ones out and by mid next week to get the black ones out. So if you are interested, head to the website, jkaminski.com. Links down in the description below and a card at the top up there in case you're interested. And yeah, that's it. Let's go outside and shoot some arrows. So we're here at 20 yards and I've got a camera down range so you'd be able to see where the arrows go the entire time. And I'm going to start by just getting warmed up and kind of get sighted in, get my gap down before proceeding to see how the bear shafts are flying. Still going to run 3 under today. And in case you're wondering, that is an 80 centimeter face down there at 20 yards. Arrows are definitely flying a little different. Got a little bit of a fishtail going down there, so definitely doing something with these heavy points. Now I'm gonna go get them, just shoot a few ends with the flat shafts before switching to bare shafts. Bow definitely is a little bit quieter, feels a little bit happier, that's for sure. Alright, I'm grouping, so I'm going to shoot the bare shafts. Now we're hitting a little weak, so that's good. We'll be able to shorten them up, maybe. Alright, I'm going to go down and look at them. It looks like they're angling in point to the right, tail to the left, indicating a little bit on the weak side, which is a good thing. So maybe I'll actually go inside and get the lighter weight points and throw them in these heavier inserts and just see, because if I don't have to shorten the arrows, that'd be cool as well. You know, it seems like a lot of people end up shooting full-length arrows anyway, but I don't know. Do let me know down in the description below. Do you like to have them at a certain distance in front of the hand? Do you like to run them full length because it continues to keep your gap down a little bit? Or I don't know. I'm just interested to know, do you have a preference on full-length arrows with a slightly lighter weight point or heavier weight points with slightly shorter arrows? I'd be curious to know because, like I said, this whole trad game is something completely new to me. So they're actually a considerable amount weak, which is great to see because I'm actually making progress. So I'm going to pull these 150 grain points out just to see how the arrows will perform with 100 grain points in them instead, because I do like the slightly snappier feel of the lighter weight arrow overall. You know, the 500 grain arrow compared to 420 or something like that is a considerable difference. So this should drop 50 grains actually. So it should be about a 450 grain arrow. So if I'm shooting 45 pounds, it's roughly 10 grains per pound. And I think that's a fairly safe starting point to go from there, from what I understand now. My knocking point was also real high, so I wonder if I can spin these down. I haven't tied knocking points on. These are actually from John, who threw these on for me. Yeah, they do spin down. Excellent. Okay, just checking to make sure I didn't want the knock to pop off. Dry fire this thing. That flew pretty good actually. So between the knocking point and the point weight, so sure seems like that made the difference, just going to a heavier brass insert. So I'm gonna go down and get them and shoot another end and see how it goes. It seems like the knocking point's much better, and it seems like the tune is much better. The bear shafts are sitting on the right side of the group, but they're not angled in super hard. So I'm gonna go down, verify the results, maybe tweak the knocking point ever so slightly, and do that again. So it still looked like they were both a little bit point low, so still a little knock high. I'm gonna spin these down a little bit further. And I got the camera back here, so hopefully you'll be able to see the arrow flight a little bit better. And I've got the depth of field opened way up, so hopefully you'll be able to see the arrow flying a little bit better. Hopefully you'll be able to see it on camera, because it's a dramatic difference. Overall, pretty good. They actually come out of the bow and slightly turn in like this into the target. At least the bear shafts do. The flet shafts just fly real straight because they got those big 4-inch feathers, so they're steering the arrow really well and, you know, straightening out that arrow flight. So I probably could bump this thing up slightly in brace height and see how that goes. I don't even know what it is. I think it's a little bit on the short side. I am not sure. This rubber band out the way. That's broken anyway. All right. So we'll throw a few twists in this thing. Throw like 6 twists in. It's a little bit bigger. We'll go down and get them and see if that's enough to change the arrow flight, because on Olympic style recurve, at least, as you grow the brace height, the arrows get slightly weaker. And definitely looks like I'm getting up there in the amount of twists that I'm starting to use on this string. I haven't added anything since this bow was originally sent to me, so I don't know if this string was pre-stretched properly, but I definitely should just check the brace height and make sure I'm within spec. I think I am. Doesn't seem to be too crazy, so we'll go get them, do it again. So after checking those out, the knocking point is dialed, and I'm not going to change anything there. And hopefully this brace height change makes a big difference. Bow's definitely a little happier, a little less hand shock, I think. And I'll tell you, it's so weird looking at a gap, aiming, you know, at the bottom of the bale, not looking where I want the arrow to go, and then the moment I let go, I really want to look and see where the arrow's going. And it's just odd to not look in the same place that you want to hit. I don't know how you're supposed to gap shoot, but that's kind of what I'm doing right now, and it's very odd. All right, definitely a little better, still a little bit nose to the left. So I think maybe those heavier points with a slightly shorter arrow may be the ticket to be perfectly dialed. I'm not sure. I'm gonna take you down there and we'll go check it out and then we'll talk about it. So I am surprised actually. I didn't think I had that good of a group down here. I mean, I can put all 6 arrows, including actually 5 arrows, 3 flet shafts, 2 bare shafts, basically in a circle that I can touch around, all inside the 10 ring. I think that's more than good enough. I really probably shouldn't need to go any more than this. The bare shafts are sticking in straight, so by the time they get down here, they're you know, hitting the bale consistently straight. And they are slightly on the stiff side, so slightly to the left, and you know, slightly low, but really not by that much. You know, the way that the arrow comes out of the bow, watching it head slightly, like if you were the bow, and I were to give you my perspective as to what I was seeing, was when the arrow was coming out, it was heading like this, where it was slightly knock high, slightly point low, slightly knock to the right and point left. So it was coming out and heading like this, right? And that's why it's hitting slightly on that left side. Overall, I mean, the flight is quite good, and I don't know how much better you can actually get them out of a traditional bow. I'm sure you can get the thing 100% dialed to where it's always flying perfectly, but you know, it'd be a lot of time invested there, and that's okay. That's part of the fun of archery. Maybe going up to 125 grains, kind of split the difference between that 150 and 100 grains, might be the ticket, and that's maybe where I'll end up, just getting 125 grain points. Or I can go the 150s and shorten the arrow shaft a slightly, you know, a small amount. But I don't know. I mean, what is really what most people do? Do pretty much everybody run full-length shafts to get their gaps down if you're gap shooters? Or are you shortening them up to get a little bit more, you know, speed out of the bow because they're slightly lighter? But then you have to run heavier points to break down the spine. So is it lighter? Probably not. Yeah, so I mean, at least I'm now in the safe range of 10 grains per pound, right about there with these 100 grain points at 450 grains for roughly 44 to 45 pounds of draw weight. So that's good. But I'm thinking I need 125 grain points, so that should be then 475 grain arrows for a 45 pound bow, which is still safe. So I'm not outside the range of what people have been saying, and like I said, I do appreciate that. There was a lot of engagement and a lot of people commenting down below in the previous trad video because, like I said, this is all new for me. I know how to tune an Olympic style recurve. I know how to dial in a bare bow. I know how to use stuff that has a plunger and center shot adjustment and all that stuff to be able to get things dialed in, because there's really no constraints outside of a few rules here or there. Whereas this, I can't adjust my center shot. I can't adjust the plunger tension. I can't adjust the rest height. I can't adjust a whole lot of different things that you can with a modern bow, you know, a completely modern bow with a lot of stuff that you bolt on it. But the amount of fun that I have shooting this traditional stuff is really, really high. You know, the amount of fun is just off the charts. I really enjoy it. Shooting at 20 yards, shooting groups like this. It's really fun just trying gap shooting. You know, my points down on the crossbeam below. I've got that riser laid over, so this sight window is then vertical, and I've kind of split the target in the middle. So I've got my left to right reference, and then I've got my vertical reference. And it's not super precise, but I can still shoot groups, and it's a whole lot of fun. So I'm enjoying it, and tuning it wasn't that bad once I figured out a few basic parameters and kind of read a little bit as to what a lot of people do. I wasn't sure what was common, and I was really just taking a stab at it and seeing how it works, and ended up the community helped me out, so I appreciate that very, very much. So if you like this kind of content, be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think. And if you have any suggestions on what to try next for traditional style stuff, I'm up for that. I definitely want to try wood arrows because I haven't shot wood arrows. These are carbon arrows with some wood graphics on them. And I know that that's a totally different feel. So I'll probably head down that road eventually. Maybe a different style bow, whether that be with a thumb draw or something like that. Horse bow, I don't know. Something fun. Something even more wild and different compared to what I've been shooting. I enjoy this kind of stuff. I hope you do too. And if you wouldn't mind, please do subscribe and hit that notification bell down below so that way you get notified when I upload this kind of stuff. And if you're interested in more traditional style content or maybe traditional reviews of traditional equipment, comment below and let me know. And if you're interested also in any of the gear that I've used in the video, I will have links down in the description below in case you're interested in checking out any of the stuff that I featured here on the channel today.